with that. We're going to ask Mike Kliss about that here in 4 or 5 minutes when he joins us. On the Cooper Kupp situation, who do you lean toward? ESPN's Adam Schefter, Fox Sports' Jordan Schultz, who described this situation as the Broncos are one of 3 or 4 teams who are in on Cooper Kupp? Or do you believe more Diana Rossini, who says that she's hearing the Broncos actually aren't involved in this at all?
I believe all of them. I believe that George is doing his job, his due diligence, by calling Coop to see if he would be willing to come and how much he's asking for, Coop and his agent. But also maybe there was something there with the Broncos and Coop at the beginning. And then maybe Cooper Kupp wanted too much money. And now Denver backed out. So all 3 of the reporters can be right.
Yeah, I agree.
It could start with Coop wants to come here and hey, we may be able to get something done here in Denver to, you know what, it fizzled out, it fell out. Coop wanted too much money. George and Sean didn't want to give him the money. And maybe they backtrack like they did Evan Ingram. They get it done, and we're all going to be happy. And we have Cooper Kupp sitting on our team.
Yeah, I just think it's a matter of, and every Broncos fan can answer this question for themselves, but it's a matter of if you plan on truly competing for what we talked about yesterday, if you plan on competing for the division, if you plan on competing for an AFC West title for the first time in a decade, do you feel comfortable, completely comfortable, with wide receiver number 2 right now? And is that, and I think part of the way that I would answer that question, I don't even know exactly who wide receiver number 2 is. Is it Marvin Mims? Is it Devon Vele? I wouldn't think it would be Marvin Mims.
Yeah.
I think it would, Vele profiles more as a number 2. And
is it Troy? Does Troy Franklin have a better year this year?
I mean, think about, if we're even involving Troy Franklin in this discussion, it kind of tells you it's not that it's a total mystery, but it's not enough of a bona fide known like Cooper Kupp would be. And I just think that.
But look where we're at right now, Zach. Look how spoiled we are. Last year we were talking about how this roster was probably the worst roster in the NFL. We didn't know anything about any of these receivers other than Cortland Sutton. They end up going and winning 10 games. Vele ends up doing a really, really good job this year. Marvin Mims, after week 10, started to turn it on. Troy Franklin, at the end of the year, there was a couple spark plays from him. And now we're sitting here talking about, okay, what do they look like in year 2? They can only get better from here. And that's why it's maybe we should take a step back. Do we truly need someone like Cooper Kupp? Or should we just kind of be patient and let Vele take on that role? Give him the opportunity, because what we got to see in him last year. Can he take that next step? Let Marvin Mims get the opportunities in week 1 like he did starting in week 10. So maybe we have to kind of slow our roll and be okay with who's in the building right now.
Well, if that's the approach, I guess I'd be okay with it, because I do have so much belief in Devon Vele specifically. But it's just one of these things that if you plan on competing at the highest level, is that a rock-solid plan? And I don't know if it is. I think Cooper Kupp's a better plan.
He's a bigger name.
Yeah.
He's a bigger name, Zach.
He's a bigger name because he's done some incredible stuff.
Has, but also there's a reason why someone like the Rams decided to let him go.
Yeah, his contract. He has not, his on-field play doesn't match the contract currently. But his on-field play is pretty damn good. On pace for 1,000 yards each of the last 2 seasons. Just hasn't played enough games. So let's tag in Mike. Let's tag in Mike Kliss to this conversation. Our 9 News Broncos insider, brought to you by Fitness Gallery. Mike, we were just discussing the Cooper Kupp scenario, and I guess we'll just start with asking you what is the latest here, because we have conflicting reports around the country right now, just how involved the Broncos are or aren't with Cooper.
Yeah, I don't think the Broncos aren't all that involved. They had some interest, but at a certain price, and I think he's way beyond that certain price that the Broncos would have been interested. I guess he's interested in the Broncos, but the Broncos don't want to go there for a couple reasons. and one of them, I think you guys are just alluding to it. You bring in a guy like Cooper Kupp, now Marvin Mims takes a step back automatically, and Devon Bailey takes a step back because they're not playing. They're not going to play as much, and Troy Franklin takes a step back. And I know you guys aren't that big on Troy Franklin, but Sean Payton is, and he thinks in year 2 he's going to develop, and so that's what you have to be careful of with Cooper Kupp. And no one has had I don't know if even Jerry Rice has had a season better than Cooper Kupp did in 2021.
No, it's the best ever.
Is it? Okay.
And it finishes with a Super Bowl MVP. That's what caps it off.
And you're right. That did cap it off. But he paid a price. His body started breaking down, and he's been broke down really since then. And I know he rebounded a little bit last year, but I think the feeling is this guy is beat down a little bit and still asking for a premium price. And so that's the type of the good, I guess. You hate to kind of materialize these guys, but that's kind of what it's about. And I don't think they're going to go there. I think the Broncos, for the most part, are done with free agency. They're not done. You still have to either re-sign Michael Burton or get another fullback, around the minimum wage. Maybe you get a veteran running back near the minimum wage, minimum wage, fill-in depth guys. But for the most part, as far as improving the team from 2024, that was basically the 3 big guys that they signed. Even Evan Ingram, Hufanga,
yeah,
and Greenlaw. Those are the 3.
Well, Mike. What's interesting is we need a running back. Like, we need a running back badly. So why would the Denver Broncos be done? And I know you kind of still put it out there that they could go out there and get a running back from the free agent market. But were the Denver Broncos in on any running backs before they were picked up, or are they just kind of sitting on their hands until the draft?
Yeah, the draft is loaded with running backs, and they basically put their plan together. Who do we like in the draft? This is the Broncos talking. Who do we like? What positions do we like in the draft? What positions do we need in free agency right now? And safety, there was no doubt about it that inside linebacker and safety was going to be free agency. Tight end, you hear mixed things about a tight end in the draft, and I know a lot of people put Colston Loveland as their first-round draft pick. I don't think that happens now. They got Evan Ingram, and they paid him good money. I mean, he's going to, Ingram's going to play close to 100% of the snaps.
Yeah.
And so, you're not going to waste a first-round draft pick on a tight end who's going to sit behind Ingram for at least a year and a half. So that's the position there that they got in free agency. And so in the draft, maybe your number 20 pick is your starting running back. And we'll have to see. It's not necessarily the case, but they're going to get a running back probably, you would think no later than the 3rd round of this upcoming draft, and probably higher than the 3rd round.
We're chatting with Mike Klis, our 9 News Broncos insider. We had a conversation, and I just want to bounce it off you, see if it makes sense to you at all, okay? Maybe it's a little fantasy football, but we were having a conversation, I think it was Wednesday, maybe Tuesday, kind of organically stumbled upon it, in that if the San Francisco 49ers are blowing up their roster, which I think they just let 15 guys either walk in free agency, they traded them, or what have you, or just flat out cut, by the way. Is it worth a call about Christian McCaffrey, knowing that and understanding that he doesn't really line up with the reset in terms of a timeline, and maybe he would fit more with the Broncos, who need a running back? And he's your favorite Joker's favorite Joker. Christian McCaffrey is, and
you're right.
And you could bring him back to Denver, and I think you could get him for a second-round pick.
Yeah, and that's you're right. He would definitely fit. He would be the Joker, that more so than Ingram, really, for Sean Payton, and he would fit. It's just a matter of it's the money. I think he's got a pretty good price tag. I don't know what his money is. I've heard the maybe the speculation there, but I don't know. Let's say he was making good money. Is he making $14 million this year?
Yeah,
but,
it looks like it looks like for this year his base salary his base salary is $1.2 million. Signing bonus 2.8. The cap hit is only $9 million. But what it does is it balloons at the end of the contract, where in 2027 he's got a $25 million cap hit and a salary for about $17 million. So you'd probably restructure that is what I would think.
Yeah, I mean, if it's I'd have to see the cash breakdown on that, but that seems a little steep. And Christian, as much as you love him, you weigh, here's a guy who's been beat up a little bit. He's had some injuries versus getting fresh legs in the draft.
Right.
And I would be surprised if the Broncos have gone 3 years without that first and second round draft pick.
Right.
I mean, they traded around to move up and get a second rounder, but it's still, I think they want to use their draft picks. And running back, a Christian McCaffrey, you're rolling a dice on him. He's really good. He's another guy. Now the Broncos that's what they've been doing this offseason. They've been rolling the dice on guys who have been banged up.
Right.
All three of those guys.
So why not add one more?
Yeah, doesn't it kind of fall in line, right?
Why not add one more?
Yeah.
Hey, that is, I'm telling you, that wouldn't stink if they did something like that, or if that would be their strategy. But you're weighing that against getting a fresh back, and the value there. What is the value for this team? And right now, I don't think Christian McCaffrey, at least right now, I don't think that's something the Broncos are moving toward. I'm not sure if San Francisco, even with all their their sell-off there that they're doing, I'm not sure they've put Christian McCaffrey on the market. So right now, I would say the odds are the running back, the number one running back for the Broncos, will be drafted in late April.
Yep, that's more than likely, but figured it was worth asking. Mike, we always appreciate your time. Have a great weekend, my friend. We'll do this again next week.